All right, ladies and gentlemen, I told you we'd be back. So, yes, I know, okay? This is part two of the evolution theory about Alexis Bale's 1 hour SpongeBob theory compilation. If you somehow haven't managed to watch part one will be in the description box below. And, yeah, not really much to say, just let's continue off.
So, if there's one thing I'd probably change about my evolution theory, it would be the second part about the war.
After the war, Krabs stayed secluded in a deep depression that seemed endless.
I
Yeah,
think there definitely was a war in Bikini Bottom, but I don't think it was between evolved and primitive fish anymore. There is just way more evidence that the war Mr. Krabs fought in was actually a war between fish and humans. And I think this concept for a human war has been secretly present in the show from the very start.
really?
Every single building in Bikini Bottom is made out of some sort of debris from the human world. Now, this is a reference to how marine ecosystems
True.
in real life often form around things that fell from the surface. But the debris isn't always just random objects or pollution.
Yeah, that one looks like a cup.
A surprising amount of the buildings feel like they're from the aftermath of a massive war. There are a ton of buildings made out of sunken ships, but there's also anchors, submarines, lobster traps, bait and tackle boxes, undersea mines. There's even a building made out of a dead bucket of fish. If you really look at the show's aesthetic, it gives the impression that Bikini Bottom is an Adventure Time style post-apocalyptic wasteland where a massive war between humans and fish took place. Mr. Krabs' Navy Convention Center is literally a giant torpedo. We get further confirmation of this as early as season 1 Hooky, when a bunch of humans start fishing in Bikini Bottom. Pay close attention to how Mr. Krabs reacts.
They're back! They're back, I tell you! I saw it with my own eyes!
They're back. Mr. Krabs has dealt with this before, probably because these were the same hooks from the war he fought in. From humans'
Oh.
perspective, they're just fishing, but for the citizens of Bikini Bottom, this was a brutal war. And listen to what he says about what happens if the hooks catch you.
They cook you, and then they eat you! Or
So he has
What
experience.
could be worse than that?
gift shops.
I like that. Me and Kevin quoted
You
many
end up
times.
in gift shops. This gives a whole new context to the Shell City gift shop we see in the SpongeBob movie.
Wait a second. Those fish are dead.
All these dead fish are victims from the human war. Look, the gift shop in Hooky even has a very similar sign to the Shell City gift shop.
Uh-huh.
Among the dead fish in Shell City, we specifically see the same type of royal seahorses King Neptune uses, which makes sense because as
Even
King
if he
of
is a
the
fake
Sea, he would
actor.
probably
What?
be the one commanding the army to go fight the humans. Movie Neptune even talks about Shell City like he has personal experience with it.
My crown is in the forbidden Shell City! No one who's gone to Shell City has ever returned!
I guess this could also mean Mr. Puff was a victim of the war, but I kind of prefer the idea from my new Mrs. Puff mini theory.
We also did a reaction of the part two of Mrs. Puff's theory. So again, there will be a link to the playlist so that way you can react to the old versions and the new ones. Because after this, we're gonna go back and do a reaction to the originals that has all the mews and stuff, and then we react to the new versions later. But yeah.
see giant hooks all over Mr. Krabs' wall of memorabilia, along with other human fishing tools. There's even a picture of the Bikini Bottom museum ship before it was sunk in the war and later turned into a museum. There's also this picture of a human pirate. And before you say anything, no, this is not Patchy. It's probably just someone he fought in the war. Listen, I still definitely think these pictures could be Pearl's mother, and she's still the source of the Krabby Patty meat. But instead of Mr. Krabs killing her, she was probably just a casualty of the human war, and Mr. Krabs just found her dead body and adopted her orphan daughter. There's also the Hook Museum.
Yeah, it just makes a little bit more sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still basically messed up how Mr. Krabs just using the meat of a deceased mother. But I mean, at least technically it lessens the blow that Mr. Krabs killed her. Honestly, I think yeah, I just think it's probably better if Mrs. Puff's mother was just a casualty of war. And Mr. Krabs, I don't know, unfortunately had to make her into Krabby Patties. It's not good, by no any means is it good. Shame on you, Mr. Krabs. But at least it's better than just Mr. Krabs doing that. If he were the killer.
Which, with this context, looks much more just like a straight-up war museum. Now, these are smaller hooks, so I initially thought maybe this was just a museum of hooks made by evolved fish to catch primitive fish like clams, but listen closely to the audio Mr. Krabs is listening to.
The three-pronged jig hook was first sighted in local waters more than 100 years ago.
The hook was first sighted in local waters more than 100 years ago. This is definitely a museum of human hooks, and we now know this war has been going on for at least 100 years. There's also tons of movies and TV shows in Bikini Bottom based around the horrors of hooks.
Yeah. Dang.
Tonight's frightening feature.
The idea of this human war is everywhere in the show, and it's played a big role in shaping the culture of Bikini Bottom. But here's the strange thing about all of this. The Bikini Bottom we see today is not at war. The only time we see humans fishing in Bikini Bottom is in this one single episode.
And that's it.
Mr. Krabs even says they're back.
They're back!
As if this is not a normal occurrence. This implies that the humans previously stopped attacking for some reason. So, what ended this great human war that lasted
Radiation?
for at least 100
Oh wait, no,
years?
the Bikini Atoll is
Clearly,
disproven.
humans and fish have a much more peaceful relationship now. The entire SpongeBob SquarePants show is made by humans with the help of certain fish, including Mr. Krabs, who used to fight against them. What if the reason why the war
the real
ended
Mr.
was
Krabs.
because of this show? The original human research team that was mentioned in the SpongeBob Pitch Bible showed the world that Bikini Bottom had extremely intelligent life and proved that instead of killing the fish, they could peacefully profit off of them by making their lives into a TV show. SpongeBob doesn't even know it, but I think he might be the reason why a 100-year-long brutal war between humans and fish has come to a peaceful end.
Hey!
And that is the human war theory.
Okay, SpongeBob me Bob. Oh, come on! Okay, me boy, SpongeBob me Bob. Not gonna lie. Not bad. So SpongeBob is responsible for ending a 100-year war, and no longer will fish be hunted by humans. That's good stuff, SpongeBob. I give you your props. And finally, a theory that's not so dark. Who would have thought it? But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the video. And geez, I know that people are going to say, man, why does it have to be a two-parter? You saw how short this video is. And yeah, I know, I'm sorry for for two-parters, but I mean, like, it was getting really hot and I ain't trying to buy another tablet. But yeah, guys, that's going to be the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like the video so I know you guys enjoy. Comment down below what you guys think. Again, just want to reiterate that now that we're basically caught up, we are going to be reacting to the original version of SpongeBob Conspiracy, the Neptune Theory, the OG one, the one that had the muse and everything and such. And that's when we're done doing that, I guess we'll also watch the new version of it. Basically trying to balance like both of them out, at the same time. And yeah, pretty much that's all I gotta say, really. So be on the lookout for the next video being the Neptune Theory, the OG one. Make sure you like the video so I know you guys enjoy, and make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bells. That way you never miss the video. We'll probably release the video tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. This is Juan Gamer 54 signing off.